The more you think, the less you will do. The more you try to process every scenario, every outcome, every possible scenario, the more you're going to get stuck and unable to make any call and find yourself getting frustrated and more fearful as time goes on. And so today, I want to share with you a couple perspectives and ideas and strategies to help you begin the process of moving forward and changing your life for the better. But before I do, if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. If you want to be a part of the community in a deeper way, you can click that button below. It'll send you over to my website where you can sign up to my monthly newsletter, and I will send you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as a thank you for being part of it. And this newsletter is about rebuilding purpose, rediscovering who you are, and moving towards an ego-soul integrated lifestyle. I'm speaking from experience and also being of that type, where we assume by meticulously breaking down a scenario, going over it a million times, that it's going to somehow give me the best insight as to what direction I should go in my life, what direction I should move. But oftentimes, if we really reflect on it, we're either off, maybe we're right sometimes, which is the worst thing. Being right that once in a while gives you this false sense that you can keep going in that direction, keep using the same methods. But more often than not, we're going to be wrong. It wasn't the way we thought. Because the reality of doing that is we cannot process every single thing. Life moves and shifts and changes constantly. And so we can't always be on the cutting edge of thinking of these things all the time. We're not gods. And what ends up happening really is we sit in a place of fear, the place of indecision. And that's what overthinking really is. We're afraid of making a call. We're afraid of making a mistake. And that goes into a deeper question. Well, why? Why are we afraid of making a mistake, making the wrong call? Perhaps we don't want to look dumb. Perhaps we don't want to lose a sense of where we already are. Maybe we're making some progress and I don't want to mess it up. It all falls down to a deeper meaning, a deeper reason. But today I want to push you in a direction that can actually make some changes in your life. So what are the few things we can start doing today? You know, I talk a lot about shadow work and integration and looking inward at the shadow, which is absolutely critical to really bringing yourself to more holistic being. But at the same time, we cannot be stuck in the past. We cannot get stuck in our old stories and relive them over and over and over again without any plan to move forward. And so the first thing I want to introduce you is my 3-6-1 principle. 3 years, 6 months, and daily. First thing you're going to do is set a 3-year target. But make this something meaningful and sacred to you. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to be at that point? What areas of your thoughts and yourself do you want clean at that point? You could have your finances look different. What do you want your relationships to look like? Make it as vivid as possible. And make it important, make it sacred, don't make it trivial. The 6 is 6 months. This is so that we can actually not procrastinate and assume 3 years is a long way and never actually get anything done. So we want to make sure we have something in that in between. Now, you can change the 6. You can make it into a 7, a 4, a 3, whatever you want. Now, why you would want to change it is because you want to place yourself in the sweet spot of stress. Just the right amount to get you to move without so much that it crushes you and without so little that you just let weeks go by. So you want to find that sweet spot. And that midway point, that midway target, the 6-month target, is to better serve and move you towards your 3-year vision. Now moving on into the 1, which is the daily. This is where everything truly exists, is your daily practices. Now, what are the daily practices you're going to do? I always say to all the clients I work with, and this is what I did for myself, I believe in the balance between motivation and discipline. Motivation is that spark of energy you get that makes you move and run and want to get a lot done. And then discipline is that warrior archetype that makes you stay consistent and disciplined, slightly detached from emotion that says, oh, I don't want to do it, I want to just lay around, I'm not in the mood for it. That keeps you moving steadily. You have to have those two working in a beautiful balance. Because oftentimes, we wait for motivation. You wait for some hit of inspiration and hope that that's going to be the thing that keeps you moving forward. But it's not. It's not the right muscle. It's a spike of energy, which is more than welcome, but it's not sustainable. And so discipline is going to be the thing that keeps you moving consistently. I always say, just do a little bit every day. Don't get caught up in the noise that you have to do 10, 11, 12, 14-hour a day shifts. You can work your way up to that if that's what you really want, but that's also imbalanced. You can't do that all the time. And so you want to find your sweet spot. An hour a day, 30 minutes a day, 2 hours a day to really move your life forward. Make your life better. Make your thoughts better. Make your soul more expressive through your ego. What are some things you could do in the daily? Well, number one, you can remove the thoughts in your mind that take away your power. Oftentimes we get told, we add in words, say positive mantras to yourself, which is great. They're fantastic. But we often deal with a lack of positive, but we are dealing with an abundance of negative. And so by just slashing away the bad language in your mind, the self-defeating language, the language that makes you stop and ruminate and feel sad and depressed and angry and bitter, start to slash them away. Literally, get a journal, write them down, and put like a little line right across. And command yourself that I am not going to be saying this word anymore. If you do, be compassionate and loving and graceful. Show grace to yourself. Don't attack or judge. It's not going to help. You have to be cooperative in this dynamic. Number two, you can clean up the surrounding environment. Because before we can tackle deeper challenges, deeper shadow work, you have to have some of that momentum and courage built up. And you can do that by simple things. If there's areas in your house that you've been avoiding to clean, or there's certain areas of your work that you've been avoiding and procrastinating, tackle those first. Center your energy and focus towards it, and you get it done. If you get it done, even the small things, they're going to build momentum. And now to complement removing the negative, that is when the positive comes in. As you're removing the negative words, the negative language you say to yourself, and as you start to get a couple things done in the house, that is when the positive language comes in. Attribute it to something you actually did, so it doesn't feel false and phony. Maybe you cleaned up a corner of the house today that you've been leaving for a year. It's collected dust and mold, and it's nasty looking, and you've just been averting your eyes towards it. And you cleaned it, and you took care of it. And you went past the uncomfortable feelings and the urge to be lazy about it, but you got it done. That is a wonderful time to compliment yourself, give yourself that praise. Good work, we did it. Let's try to do something else tomorrow. Or let's do something else today. That is the powerful way of combining, removing negative, adding the positive after an act that you can really feel proud of. As you start to stack this type of confidence, you can then move on into the next step. There's the harder stage. Perhaps there are people in your life. Now, I'm a big believer in loyalty. I do believe in loyalty, but it has to be a two-way exchange. And so if there are friends in your life, if there's family in your life, that you find no matter what happens, no matter how much maybe perhaps you try to move them and bring them forward, or maybe now you're in this new journey in your life and you want to let them know and bring them along, and they're not willing, and they're deteriorating, and they're subtracting from your growth, from your actualization of your integration, then perhaps you have to consider parting ways, maybe just temporarily. You have to put your integration, your sense of being, your wholeness at a high priority. You have to. Otherwise, you'll get lost again, and then you'll get dragged right back into the place you are. And so perhaps it's a time to separate. Give yourself some space. You don't have to completely cast them out if that's something too difficult. but it must be done. Once you do all these things, there's going to be points that you find as you're working on yourself. There are areas it's not working. There's certain words you try to bring into your life that maybe are going against particular language you've said for a very long time. Maybe you've told yourself you're a loser, that you're not capable of actually getting anything done. And so when you get something done, you bring in the correct language, the positive language, there's so much friction. Now, friction's not a bad thing. Friction is just a momentary change. There's change happening, and the complex within you, within the unconscious, is fighting against it, really testing to see if this is really what you want. You can persevere through those oftentimes, but there will be some that get really, really sticky and very difficult to get rid of. And the reason why is because that string trails all the way down into the unconscious realm, where there's a complex that is really, really powerful and that requires your attention. And this is when the shadow work comes into play. To separate from oneself, separating that memory, because complexes are emotional knots that contain memories, contain stories, contain emotion. And so by separating from them and observing them, we can then ask it questions. What is that you need from me? Why is it that you're not allowing me to move forward? It sounds silly, but try and see its magic. And as you start to tackle it, you can then get to the stage of letting go, integrating, and reimagining your life, reinterpreting that story moving forward. You push away the stories that no longer serve you. You integrate the aspects that have now brought you to where you are today. It may give you strength, courage, resilience, understanding, compassion. Even bad stories have something within it that has given you this new value, this new skill, this new way of being. Integrating that, and then moving forward now in a reimagined life. Reinterpreted. And so today is your call to action. That the thinking is not going to change anything. You can think forever. It's time to move. Time to move forward. And that is why my approach to integration is one that harmonizes the practical, grounded self-help of fixing posture, tonality, language, setting goals and moving towards them, building skill, things that fall along the warrior and king archetypes. But at the same time, understanding the spiritual, the divine, the things we can't see but we can feel. And harmonizing these two together is going to bring you a sense of power you've never thought possible. And it is possible, as long as it's a lifestyle. If this resonated with you, I would absolutely love for you to join my community. Again, click that button below. It'll send you over to my website, and you're going to put in your information, and you'll be part of my monthly newsletter, and I will send you my 3-step identity rebuilding guide as my thank you to you. This newsletter is on my Rule of 3 method, where we talk about rediscovering, rebuilding purpose back into your life, rediscovering who you truly are, and moving towards an ego and soul integrated lifestyle. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video.